The future of work. People worry about AI, they worry about machine learning, and they worry about the nature of what we're going to do as humans in future generations.
Yes.
It's almost as if there's a fork in the road. If it's done wrong, if the transformation of society is not shepherded by
Yes.
stewards who have a deep, what you might call philosophical and soulful intent,
Yes.
it can be quite haphazard, rough and tumble,
Yeah.
and lead to social breakdown. On the other side, taking advantage of these technologies can help us evolve to a higher place. We live in a time where the disruption of globalization, the philosophical challenges of different systems of thinking coming to the pinnacle of the G20 in the US-China relationship, where trade adjustment assistance, budgets, school systems, everything seems like it's under pressure. Everything feels, in the word, disruptive and threatening. But that masks the possibilities that come from technical innovation, and you illustrated that today. How do we put ourselves on the right track for what you might call human supportive AI and technical innovation?
Yes, yes. I think on the one, there are sort of two arguments, and they're both partly right and partly wrong. One argument is that AI will displace all jobs, so we're all in trouble. The other argument is AI is merely an amplification of humans. It'll make us great, and it won't disrupt jobs. I think both are correct, depending on the category of jobs we're talking about. I think AI will amplify the jobs of the creative, the professional, the scientists, the professor, the columnists, the story writer, your friend, the movie script writer. Yes. It will create lots of permutations and filtering of ideas and scripts for them to consider new drugs that could be invented. The human will make the creative idea. AI will test it out and filter. So I think that human AI symbiosis will happen. But we have to be aware such jobs are the minority of jobs in the society. The majority of jobs are relatively routine jobs, or jobs that have significant routine components. So AI today is very good at doing routine jobs. If fed large quantities of data and given the right answer or labeling of each data, it can recognize faces, give loans, provide support to customers, pick fruits, and sort packages much better than human. So we're on a path where those routine jobs will gradually be completely displaced by AI. So I think it's incumbent upon us to figure out how to transition that substantial workforce to something else that they can do, can be reskilled to do, and can bring satisfaction to do. I think that is probably the big challenge.
I found very powerful is the book was both autobiographical in a deeper, an earlier history.
Yes.
It dealt with very powerful issues that are on the horizon right now, but you brought the transformation of yourself that came through this health crisis into what I would call evolving your interpretation of what's meaningful.
Absolutely.
And as we look at the fear that people have right now about technology, I think what they fear is that technology is not what you might call joined by the heart. It's not given a human purpose, where those notions that you excavate in the latter third of your book about what is the meaning and what is purpose and what is use. It's not just making money and fame.
Right.
There are many dimensions to a meaningful life, and the fact that you could weave that in here, I think enhances people's sense of the possibility of this technology.
Thank you. I do think it's a multi-stage process. I think having been through illness, I recognize what I value, facing that death may be 100 days away, that the things I value are not work and work ethic and working harder and fame and money, but the love of my family, but pursuing my dreams. Those are the things I really value. And I regretted not having lived that way. and it woke me up. But at the same time, I realize as we see AI coming and displacing many jobs, people aren't going to have that same epiphany. They will be faced with, well, AI took my job. Even if I'm given social welfare or UBI, well, what's the meaning of my life? I think in the short term, we need to find a way to reskill, to give people that meaning back, so that maybe a customer service rep can become an elderly companion. Maybe that truck driver can become someone who could be an elderly care and help help the elderly move around and make sure they don't fall. So those kind of transitions are needed, and I think they will give them the satisfaction of work, because at the end of the day, it's probably more satisfying to have helped someone than to have been on an assembly line. So I think that's the temporary 20, 30-year solution. But I also see through my own eyes that ultimately we have to evolve out of this obsession about work being the meaning of life. Yes. And that's how I wanted people, as they finish the book, to think about the next 30 years may be chaotic and rough, but if we get over it, if people move on, we really at the same time need to start thinking about AI may be here to liberate us from the routine work, and that allows us to pursue our dreams, spend time with our loved ones, and find why we exist as humans.
Well, at an earlier turbulent time, John Maynard Keynes wrote his famous essay, The Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren. And he talks in that essay about the fear and disruption and feeling like we're way off course, but he concludes that it's actually just a time of transition where the disruption is real, the pain and the disorientation is real, but these are growing pains. If we do it right, we're on our way to a better future. And I think you've created a book which, in these turbulent times, is like a beacon of hope, both through your example and through the vision that you've shared with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.